Welcome again to SaharaTV, and with us in the studio today is the spokesperson of the Southern Nigerian Frontier, Comrade Olufemi Lawson. It's a pleasure having you on SaharaTV again.
It's my pleasure to be here.
We're looking at the issue of rotation presidency and ahead of the 2023 polls. Let me first of all ask you, what is your view on the recent resolution of the Southern Governors Forum insisting that the next president should come from the south of the country?
Well, the resolution of the Southern Governors Forum, in as much as people may want to see it as a resolution of those 17 governors representing the 17 southern states of Nigeria, looks to us more than just an opinion of 17 people who have sat as governors on these states. To us, it is an opinion of the people of the South who these governors are representing. And that call is only a call made in the spirit of fairness, and I think it's morally right also to say that for a country that is so plural like ours, it is not out of place for the Southern Governors Forum to have, on behalf of their people, made that demand that the next president of Nigeria must come from the southern part of Nigeria.
The ruling Progressive Congress, the ruling party, the APC, has been faced with the challenge of balancing the rotation of presidency in order to satisfy the expectations of various political interests ahead of the 2023 polls. Will this not heat up the polity, and will it not present a clear and present danger for a peaceful transition of power?
It may not necessarily do, in the sense that it's a multi-party democracy. And I don't think Nigerians are under any obligation to, as a matter of compulsion, vote a particular political party. There are political parties out there. Nigerians have choices to make between the ruling All Progressive Congress and other opposition parties, including the People's Democratic Party and every other parties that may be putting up candidates for the race. What is more important to us is that it is important that parties contesting this election take into cognizance the fact that as we speak, there has been a president who is occupying the position for the second term, coming from a particular region of the country, and now it is only morally right and fair that we allow other part of the country to also have a shot at the presidency, especially at a time that Nigeria has become more than ever clearly divided along the path of north-south, whether anybody likes it or not.
Let me take you up on the issue of the fact that Nigeria, more than ever, Nigeria is far divided from along these different lines. I'm talking about heating the polity. The Northern Elders Forum has posited that Northern Nigeria has a voting population and will not play second fiddle in 2023. Does this not smack of an attempt by the North to monopolize the leadership of the country?
People like those people speaking for the Northern Elders Forum, particularly their public secretary, Dr.
Ahmed,
are only playing on the intelligence of people, maybe whom they have continued to use their political machinations to control in the North.
But they played a pivotal role
the North does
in bringing Buhari to power.
No, they did not. The South brought Buhari to power. Buhari contested the election for presidency 3 times in this country and failed to win. Why was it impossible for Buhari to win election when it contested in 2020, 2003, 2007, and 2011? Were they not vote from the North? Were they not having the population then? Why did they lose against a southern candidate in 2011, Goodluck Jonathan, from an ethnic minority in Bayelsa State? It tells you that it is just an imagination of people like Baba Ahmed to assume that what makes up the North that has this majority is it talking about the middle belt part of this country that they have continued to unnecessarily coerce into the area, whatever they call the North. Is it claiming that Kwara, Kogi, Benue, Plateau, Taraba are also part of the northern population that is relying on to produce the president of Nigeria forever? No. They must be able to clearly define what really constitutes this North that has a population, a larger population of, to what advantage? A larger population of Almajiri uneducated children? No, we must talk about population in terms of its productivity, not on the basis of how you can take advantage of the innocent poor people of the North for personal gains and electoral purposes without any meaningful impact on their lives.
Your organization actually took a swipe at the Northern Elders Forum. You described them as becoming famous as a group of crisis entrepreneurs, and that their position is an illusion. Could you expatiate on that?
Yes, you see, let me make a similarity in a comparison between Northern Elders Forum, through their positions, and a group, famously known as Mietiala. If you look at these characters that comprises, this organization, let me give you an example. Today, not a single leader among those people who come to speak in the name of Mietiala in this country today is a cattle herder. These are people who live in mansions in Abuja, who drive luxurious SUVs, whose children are in the best private schools in Abuja, including their national secretary, who coincidentally is my friend. They are not cattle herders. A lot of them cannot trek a kilometer with a herd of cattle. They now live city life. They now enjoy the luxuries of the city, but speaking and promoting crisis in the name of the artisans, the innocent herders that are forced to trek from Sokoto to Lagos in the name of cattle herding. Does it mean that these people don't also deserve a better life? Does it mean that they don't deserve a life where they can also have their children in school and have their cattle ranch somewhere? That is the characteristic of people like the Northern Elders Forum, who just sit in the comfort of their mansions in Kaduna and Abuja and begin to speak, as if they have, the collective mandate of the people of the North to make positions just like the last positions made by the NEF, that it has what it takes, to continue to determine the presidency of Nigeria. It is not possible.
Let me also take you up on this statement, referring to the Northern Elders Forum, right? That it is in a desperate bid for forceful leadership and territorial control. We can, without contestation, permit them to hold on to the atrocities that are speedily lost, territories that are speedily lost to insurgency occasioned by bad leadership in the North. Some would say that those are strong statements, casted as passions of the northern political leaders' failure.
It is very glaring today that beyond Abuja today, I'm not sure there is any part of the North today that you and I have freedom to freely move, as even as guaranteed. A lot of time they want to come out and tell you that freedom of movement is guaranteed and people have the right to herd cattle, from any part of the country to the south or wherever. The truth is that have they been able to do these justifications in the region of the country where they are coming from? The truth is that today freedom is no longer available for the people of most part of the North, including Katsina, the home state of the president. What are they doing as leaders to ensure that the people, live the kind of life they deserve? What are they doing? And I call it territorial expansion because they believe, having failed to secure, their immediate environment, their immediate communities, they think it is convenient to continue to hold on to power so that they can expand, to the other territories of the country where they can now feel, a lot of them now feel secure in Lagos, a lot of them now feel more secure coming to the south because they have lost the security and comfort they enjoy in the northern part of the country. Now they think their businesses of cattle rearing and other businesses can also expand to this part of, because their cattle are now being rustled in Kano, in Kaduna, in Katsina. So they don't think it is Lagos, Ogun, and Ondo lands that are available now, because we are not cattle rustlers here. And that is why we call it territorial expansion. They want to come to the other side of the country where they think it is comfortably safe to do the business, having failed to do the needful over there, to ensure that the businesses of cattle herding or whatever. If you go to the states like Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna today, there are vast expanse of land, forest and grazing lands there. I was in the Katsina recently, and I was, marveled by the potentials in Katsina. When you talk about agriculture, when you talk about even lands for grazing or whatever you want to call it, but it is no longer safe. So people have to move their cattle here to avoid being rustled, to avoid being killed. And some people are sitting in Kaduna thinking it is by holding on to power that they can control not only the lands and their population, but the economic prosperity of the country that is more abundant in some other region, particularly in the south. And that is why we said no. It's a territorial expansion agenda and we are opposed to it.
Most of the states, southern governors, have actually passed the anti-grazing laws into law. Just recently, the Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, faulted the anti-grazing laws that is being enacted by state governments. And he referred to that banning opening grazing was not the solution to the perennial clashes between herders and farmers in the country. And the fact that what is unhelpful is to politicize the situation and pass legislation that you know that they cannot implement. Is it realistic? Could this legislation be implemented to the latter? And is the issue of anti-grazing law being actually politicized?
No, you see, people like Malam El-Rufai has been known to be consistent in inconsistencies. That's an attribute you should know about him. The anti-grazing law is just like every other laws, including the Lagos State traffic law, the environmental laws, and every other laws that have been, brought up by states, that have been enacted by states, in terms of imposition of bills and have become law. And I want to say that anti-open grazing laws rather in the South has come to stay, whether anybody so wish or not, except so repealed by the state House of Assemblies that are making this law. It is not left, for the opinion of the conveniences of people like Malam El-Rufai, because why we are where we are today is because of their inconsistency, whether you like it or not. At one point or the other, there have been people who have also, condemned, the culture of open grazing. Governor of Katsina at some point was also, a supporter of the open grazing, but today he has come out to say that not only is it even wrong, well, it is even against the religious belief of Islam to graze openly the way they are doing. And you see, when people keep talking about the farmer-herders clash, I find it very, very uncomfortable with all sense of humility to agree that what we are witnessing is farmer-herders clash in most of these cases. Even where there are ordinary two people fighting on the street, we find the police coming to arrest and prosecute them in some cases for true fighting. Yeah. At what point today do we have either a group of farmer or a group of herder being prosecuted by the Nigerian government for what we call farmer-herders clashes? These are not clashes. This is an invasion of people's farm. This is an act of, sacking people from their farm. This is a system where people graze thousands of cattle into farms and wreck it. And you call that, and you want the farmer to just fold his arm and watch and pray? Is that what we call clashes? Only a few days ago on our way to Elisha, we have to divert through the opposing route because over 3,000 cattle were on the road. Wow. Around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So when you begin to us, it is not usually about farmer-herders clashes. It is about their insincerity to admit that the system of, putting thousands of cattle on the road, to trek from Sokoto to Lagos to Calabar to Benue is wrong. It is that system that is creating the conflict. Farmers didn't just sit and clash with herders where they are sitting or within their communities. We grew up having Fulani settlement across our communities in parts of Ondo State or your state. We grew up, drinking natural milk from cattle, from Fulani herders. Where were there no clashes? Where were there no farmer herders clashes? But because there no Fulani man will graze into my father's, maize farm or yam farm, they know where to graze their cattle. In some cases, we used to have, people selling grasses in bunches. Then they bring it, they feed cattle with it. But today, some people expect that you should allow people to continually move cattle on traffic routes, on farmland, and you call it farmers' herders clashes. It is not. For people who think the law is being politicized, to us it is not being politicized. It's a child of necessity. It is time for it. We cannot continue in this century to encourage a system that is so antiquated that even our children will not be proud of. Are they proud that people who are doing business as large as owning thousands of cattle cannot be traced to a particular spot or address where their businesses are domiciled? It is wrong.
Yeah. Still on the issue of how realistic and how feasible the implementation of the laws is concerned, considering the fact that the penalties for flouting the anti-open grazing laws in the southern states range from impounding cattle to arresting and fining defaulters. And considering the federal government's stance, especially President Muhammadu Buhari's led federal government's failure to unify livestock management policies and allowing states to make different laws on cattle management, will this not spell doom for the nation?
We ordinarily, this is part of the reasons why we have continued to demand that this polity is properly restructured so that we can clearly define what becomes the responsibility of government at all levels in Nigeria. Ordinarily, to some of us, the federal government has no business, having a Ministry of Agriculture. These are part of the things that federal government has put upon itself, has become a burden, and is distracting the government, particularly at the center, from its primary focus and responsibility. Federal government should leave the business of agriculture to states, because the states have been doing more, whether you like it or not, in terms of agriculture. Government should allow states to formulate their policies. Let Lagos do what suits Lagos in terms of agriculture. Let Kaduna do what suits Kaduna in terms of agriculture. Let Akwa Ibom do what suits Akwa Ibom, rather than looking at the national policies that will promote conflict rather than finding solutions to our problems. I think the federal government in itself has no business, in what it has been engaging itself in, particularly the role being played by and unfortunately some of these roles have even been taken over, by the Ministry of from the Ministry of Agriculture. Look at the recent recommendation, of a committee which said it has identified 368 thereabout grazing reserves. What is the business of the Chief of Staff to the President in doing that? Where was the Honorable Minister of Agriculture? Where are the policymakers in the Ministry of Agriculture? And that is why I tell you, the government has more than what we see on the surface as an interest in this issue of cattle that has become a topic of national discourse since 2015 in this country.
Finally, I need to get your view on this. There's been growing concern about the debt profile being embarked on by this federal government. Shouldn't Nigerians be wary of the multiplier effect of such huge debt profile?
We should be concerned, but unfortunately, we have found ourselves in the hands of people who do not have, with all sense of sincerity, foresight, and they sit back, encourage some of these policies. And a lot of time when I see, characters like people speaking for the main opposition party, PDP, I look at them as one of the most unserious set of people who have accidentally been placed in positions at one time or the other in this country. Today, the president is bringing all sort of requests to the National Assembly to get loan. But the truth is that this National Assembly, predominantly occupied by the APC and the PDP, will still sit without opposition and approve this loan request, because these loan requests have been factored in the preparation and the approval given to the 2021 national budget. You brought a budget which you have said will be mainly financed by external borrowing. So it becomes inevitable for the president to continue to make this request. Rather, one would have expected serious politically minded people, an opposition that has a number that the PDP has in the National Assembly, from their point to have criticized this proposal of taking external borrowings to fund the budget before giving approval. But you have given approval to a national budget on the basis that it is going to be mostly financed by external borrowing. So you cannot get to the middle of the match and begin to ask that the goalposts be shifted. That is where we have found ourselves. It has become inevitable. What we must begin to demand now as Nigerians is how every kobo that has been taken in our name has been spent by this government. Government has come to take loan in the name of infrastructure, in the name of this, but a lot of times these monies end up being used to service these greedy politicians and their accomplices. So we must begin to demand for how these monies are spent, because we're in the trap of the debt. Because people who ordinarily are crying foul today were part of the making of these processes that has reduced us to a borrowing nation, and we are no longer thinking about productivity. It's very unfortunate.
Comrade Olufemi Lawson, thank you so much for your insightful analysis.
It's my pleasure.